All right, we are on record today for a review and a permanency planning hearing. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Lee Heiss, lawyer, guardian ad litem.
Ms. Naja Thomas, counsel for the department.
Ashley Beach from Fostering Solutions.
Michael Brooks, I represent mother. Pamela Foote.
Pamela Foote, mother.
Michael McFarland, representing Mr. Foote. Please introduce yourself.
Aaron Foote, father.
Welcome, everyone. Ms. Heiss, I look forward to your comments.
Thank you, Your Honor. These 7 children are really remarkable, beautiful children. I visited them all in person. I observed a visit with mom and 5 children. She has really incredible skills with 5 children. And there is also problematic parenting, but mom is addressing it, and mom is starting to make changes with Renee Moore, who has been known to be rather strict, because she also counsels the other children. In the court report, Ms. Moore recommends a increase in visits, which I agree with, but I would ask you to leave that to a family team meeting and direct us to follow it as best we can. Mother is in a new job that I bet is perfect for her. I bet she's incredibly effective at that kind of work, but she's working a lot of overtime. So we need to work through a balance of, she's trying to save for her housing, I think, and but that much overtime is preventing visits. So I think it'd be better to not use judicial time to make that schedule, but to do it in a family team meeting. All the kids' needs are met in their current placements. We have had some meetings about permanence for different kids. It seems a little bit early, not to be planning, but to execute any of the plans. So if we were to have the family team meeting about the visits, for example, I would advocate for less visits for the 2 youngest, but maybe by themselves. They could tolerate a little bit more. Anyway, I'd like a chance to be creative with all the family support that they have. And I recommend following the recommendation of the agency to continue progressing on services. Thank you.
Thank you. Has somebody to name Ms. Thomas?
Yes, I would like to call Ms. Foote.
Ms. Foote or Ms. Beach, whatever you prefer.
I was just going to call Judge. I'll just preface this because we didn't do a sidebar. So last week I attended the Infant Mental Health Conference, and one of the things that really stood out to me was parents having a voice within our system. And so I just want to make sure that parents have an opportunity to share how they feel this report period is going, and how the system may be able to support them more. So I was just going to call both parents to give them that opportunity.
Great. All right, Ms. Foote, come on up to our witness stand.
Good morning, Ms. Foote. How are you doing today?
Good.
Would you prefer if I refer to you as Ms. Foote, Pam, Pamela, something else?
Pam.
Okay. Pam, how do you feel things have been going for you in the last review period? So since March 5th.
Very well. There's only been one time where I couldn't meet with Renee due to having the flu. I am working approximately 56 hours a week. I have worked it out with my job to have Mondays or Wednesdays consistently, and either a Saturday one week or a Sunday the next, so that I can have 2 days of visitation with my children, which is what Renee suggested.
And based on Brené's reports, it seems like you are making progress with her. Do you see that as well?
Yes, I do.
How do you feel parenting time is going with the kiddos?
Good. It goes better, I feel, when we're out in the community and they have more space and more places to run, and they're not captivated in a small room.
Right now, the current goal is for reunification, so for you to be able to be back with your children. Is there anything that the agency can do to help you in that regard, or that is not already occurring?
Not at the present moment, no.
I know that housing is still kind of up with you based on, or is there any update you'd like to give as relates to housing?
I have my name on a couple of apartments. I don't know how the court feels about apartments versus houses with the amount of children, so I don't know if I have to actually look for a house or if an apartment is suitable.
And are you still just looking in the Jackson County area?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to say for the court today?
There were some inconsistencies with doctor's reports and what was actually submitted to the court.
Can you tell me a little more about that?
It says in the court report that Ashley was discharged from rheumatology. She was not. According to the doctor's notes from that visit, it says Ashley has been doing well with no joint pain, stiffness, or swelling. She took her meloxicam late once, did not notice any changes, skipped her most recent infusion because aunt and uncle with whom she lives did not want her to get it. It says she is due to come for a recheck in 3 months, at which time we will consider alleviating the meloxicam. But in the court report, it says she was discharged from that. So she is still on meloxicam, and Andrew and Abby decided she did not need to follow doctor's orders and took her off of her infusions without medical consent.
Is that something you were able to discuss with the caseworker?
I informed Ricky of it, but Ricky did not say much about it.
What would your hope be? What outcome are you looking for?
That they get removed from Andrew and Abby's because they're not following the doctor's recommendations.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
Ma'am, you realize that the doctor is a mandatory reporter, that if a doctor sees any type of negligence going on, he has to report that to authorities, correct?
Correct.
And there was no reporting of the placement of this child with the individuals who decided not to go through with a certain medical procedure, correct?
I have no idea. I am not given any of that information.
No, it's not in the report that there's a complaint for child abuse for the placement for not going a certain medical route and procedure. You would agree with that? It's not in the report, correct? Nothing.
Mr. Brooks?
When we were in the hall, there was at least one other thing you said you wanted me to bring up, and that involves the Renee Moore Counseling Service report, right?
Oh, yes, there's only one page in what I was given, and there's 2 pages in that report.
The second page is listed as paragraph 3, and it's relatively short. Do you have a copy in front of you?
No, I do not. I gave you my copy.
If I read it, will you recognize what it says?
Yes, sir.
Paragraph 3 says increase visitation to twice a week. The first will be a 4-hour visit. The second will be up to 6 hours on either a Saturday or a Sunday. Amala will provide the supervisor with a monthly agenda of what she will be doing for the visits. The agenda must be approved by the DHHS worker. Pamela will follow the agenda as best possible during the visit and write down the reason for any change in the agenda. Does that sound accurate?
Yes, it does.
So with that as part of the report, do you have any other issues with the report?
No, I do not.
You and Brene Moore appear to be working effectively together, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Is there anything else you'd like the court to know?
Not at this present moment.
The remainder of the report is pretty much positive. Wouldn't you agree with me?
I would agree with you.
Now, I understand you got a shop this morning, right?
I did.
Did you know that was coming?
I did not.
Does that?
For the record, can we ask what that is?
I was served with divorce papers this morning.
In your opinion, does that alter any of the direction that you have been heading towards?
No. I still want to be reunified with my kids, and I still want custody of them.
You and your husband are not allowed to even speak to each other, right?
We are
You are?
allowed to speak, but that has not been something he has been willing to do.
I see. Is there anything else you'd like the court to know?
I don't believe so.
That's all.
Ms. Hines?
What will your priority be in this next review period? What are you really gonna focus on your case service plan?
Getting a house for me and the kids.
All right, how about your counseling with Ms. Moore? Are you gonna keep that high priority?
Yeah, that's an every Saturday event.
Okay, and then you have other counseling, ACPC, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're gonna keep up with all of those?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you, nothing further.
May we redirect, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
May we recross, gentlemen?
No, thank you.
No.
Thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. Okay, time set for a pretrial and or potentially the taking of a judgment of divorce in this file. May I have the names of our participants, beginning with our plaintiff and attorney for plaintiff who are joining us online?
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Tim Hensick. I appear on behalf of plaintiff Adam Foote, who is also on Zoom. Judge, I cannot report to the court that service has actually occurred on the defendant. I have sent the documents out to a service process company. They were returned to me. I sent them out to a second one, Premier, and they have them. I called this morning to see whether or not service has been obtained, and I had to leave a message. So I cannot confirm that the defendant even has notice of this pretrial, Your Honor, and I apologize, but she lives in Grass Lake. These parties have been estranged for months. That's where it stands.
All right, Deputy Ames, did you make a courtesy copy, please, of these papers? But Ms. Foote, would you give us your name for the record, please? Pamela Foote? Thank you. Before you go, would you swear her in?
Remain seated, but raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Ms. Foote, I appreciate that you're here, whether that means you're just here early for our next hearing or for this one. Have a copy of the paperwork asking for a divorce? No. Would you like a copy?
Yes, please.
Deputy Ames is getting that around for you today as a courtesy to you. And then we can reset this for a later time after you've had a chance to look at that and decide how you want to move forward. Does that sound acceptable to you?
It does.
Mr. Hensick, is that the path forward as far as you can see as well?
Your Honor, my sound is muffled. I'm sorry. What did Your Honor say?
Well, I've offered to give Ms. Foote a courtesy copy here in the courtroom today, and she's said she would like to take me up on that offer. And then I would also offer to you to adjourn it to allow her some time to review that and decide whether or not she wants to respond.
I would appreciate all of that, Your Honor, and agree to all of it.
All right. There is a companion case here, Mr. Hensick. Are you aware of that?
Yes, Your Honor, I spent quite a bit of time in the office of, I believe it was the probate court. I obtained documents pertaining to those various orders that court has issued. I'm aware there are 7 children and the circumstances are dire. The children are where they are and under the authority of the court. So yes, I'm well aware of it. I've reviewed it with Mr. Foote.
You may want to ask her to sign an acknowledgement of service, please. All right, Mr. Hensick, what I'm going to do then is I'll adjourn this to be held just before our next review hearing, as I set it for today, to be held just before our review hearing. And I will offer to you to send the case to mediation as an overlap service. I would, in these circumstances, because we have the abuse and neglect case as well as the divorce case, I'll be reiterating this when we're on the abuse and neglect case on the record, that the caseworkers would need to be part of that conversation in order to make sure that as far as custody and visitation goes, that those arrangements are being made in a safe way. So I will adjourn your pretrial hearing until August 13th at 9:30, and assuming you're available at that date and time, and also order that you participate in mediation before that, notifying the department as it relates to custody and visitation for purposes of participation. We can offer to you that through the court, we've got a mediator that we've convinced to do that for a relatively affordable cost. But that would not address the property division pieces. I would leave that to you to navigate any settlement conversations or offers, and I would ask you to tackle that before we come back for our next retrial. Does that sound like something that can be accomplished?
Do I coordinate that through your office, the clerk's office, to contact the mediator, Your Honor?
We will issue that in our order to adjourn. We'll include that information so that Ms. Foote has that, as well as that goes to your office.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate all of the assistance.
Your next witness, Ms. Thomas.
Mr. Foote, Your Honor.
All right, come on up, Mr. Foote.
Good morning, Mr. Foote. How would you like me to refer to you today? Mr. Foote?
Mr. Foote's fine.
Thank you. Mr. Foote, how would you describe how things are going since March 5th?
I think they're going well. Visits with the youngest 4. The timing is sometimes challenging with, my brother and sister being so busy. And, with camping season coming up, weekends are going to be hard.
Does that concern you that you might not get the parenting time you're hoping for?
A little, yes.
Is that something that you've been able to talk about with your caseworker?
Yes. When we had our meeting, we were talking about actually getting me a visitation schedule set up also.
You think that's something you would like to happen sooner than later?
Yes.
How is parenting time going for you right now? Like, is it just as everyone's available, kind of sporadic, or is there certain,
Well, with Jen and Tori, it's usually Sundays. I pick them up at 9. I have them for 2 hours. We go to church. I drop them off right after church. Ashley and Tyler was Saturdays, and then Andrew and Abby got busy, so we switched it to Thursdays from 5 to 7.
and are you hoping for more parenting time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
One of the things in the report is that you're not taking the 4 younger children all at once. Is that still accurate?
Yes.
How are you feeling about your progress in caring for all of your children at one time?
I would like to try it. I'm not against trying it. I know when this all first started, I was like very overwhelmed with having all 7 at home because I just dove in head over heel, head first. And so it was overwhelming, but it's like the house is better. I think I could do better with the house with everybody else being better.
Okay. And have you talked to the caseworker about that at all?
No, not yet.
Okay. Is that something that maybe you want to do after court?
Yes.
One of the things that the report sort of indicates as a concern is the lack of therapy. How is progress going with that? I know that it's an insurance issue. I'm just wondering what efforts were made to find a therapist this reporting period.
None. I've been focusing on, cleaning the house. It's like, that's like big. This reporting period I'm going to start seriously getting a therapist.
Is there anything from the report that you feel was incorrect or you want to speak on it?
I haven't actually looked at the report. It's like with everything going on, I just I get it in an email. So then I'd have to, and it's just hard to read through an email. I know I should print it off, but I just don't have. It's just when I get home, I'm focused on the kids, so I don't even think about printing it off.
Okay. So overall, it generally says that you're in compliance with your case service plan. We've talked about the therapy. Parenting time, we've talked about that. And it looks like you are taking the kids to all their appointments as needed. With regard to, overall, it's really favorable to you too. And as it relates to what Pam testified to, the discrepancies between what the report says about AF, your daughter AF that gets the infusions and the doctor. Do you have any information on that?
No. I've been taking him to their arthritis appointments myself and talking to the doctor. Haley is off. Haley doesn't have to go back for 6 months. Ashley and Maddie go back for the next appointment in 3 months from the last appointment. I don't know what happened with the missed infusion. I wasn't home. I was at work.
Maybe there was an error in the report that Ashley's stuff was put into Haley, or Haley's stuff was put into Ashley's portion. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to report to the court today or just say on your own behalf?
No.
Is there anything else that the agency can assist you with in helping get back with all 7 children?
Not that I could think of.
Thank you. All right, Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Mr. McFarland?
Sir, do you have an ability to print up the court report?
Yes, I do.
Would you rather it be delivered to you in a paper form, or are you okay with having it able to be printed by yourself?
I would rather it be printed for me because then I don't have to get the email then try to remember to print it. That's where cause I get,
Is mailing it to your address sufficient?
yes.
Okay. Do you have a busy, hectic schedule? What time do you have available to see a therapist?
I just finished parenting classes. And so, like, I'm hoping, I want to contact some therapists to see what we can work together on, to set up a schedule. To see if they have availability when I'm not at work.
What are your work hours? Why don't we go with that?
8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Overtime or not?
No,
Okay. And weekends, yes or no?
no,
So you're looking for, you have a lunch hour, lunch break?
I have a 30-minute lunch break at noon.
Not really enough to do anything other than eat, okay. As far as having the kids all visit with you together, are you thinking about starting off with a small time and then expanding the time frame?
That's what I would like to do. I don't want to get overwhelmed again.
I heard some questioning about having a family team meeting. Is this something that you think could be addressed at family team meeting? Talking about how to integrate that?
I think so.
Any other challenges that we could help you with during this reporting period? For example, do you need somebody to actually give you some names of potential therapists?
I have a list already. I just gotta work my way through it.
Anything else that we can do that you can think of?
No.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks?
You are aware that your wife was served with divorce papers this morning?
Yes.
Was that something that was your idea, or were you encouraged to do that by some agents?
Your Honor, I'm going to kind of object because this might be going into the realm of attorney-client privilege with the divorce case. So
I haven't mentioned anything about any attorneys. I mentioned an agency.
I'll withdraw that objection.
My lawyer has been having trouble difficulty with getting her served. She was supposed to be served a while ago.
But my question was, why did you file?
Many reasons. Not going into them right now.
All right. Now, I asked my client, your wife, what her goal was in this case. And she said it's reunification with herself, between herself and all of her children. Did you hear her say that?
Yes, I did.
What is your goal in this case?
Reunification,
With whom?
all 7.
You mentioned something about being overwhelmed. Is that right?
Yes.
To your knowledge, has your wife claimed that she's overwhelmed by this?
No.
Of the two of you, which do you think would be more suitable parent to have the kids be with?
I'm not gonna answer that question because I can't answer that question.
All right, that's fine. Right now, though, you don't feel like you're capable emotionally to handle all 7 kids, is that right?
I would say yes, that's right now.
Okay. What counseling services are you currently in?
None.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a shipper receiver at Adrian Tool Corporation.
At where?
Adrian Tool Corporation.
All right. Having worked in a factory myself as a young man, I would assume at the end of the day, you're pretty tired, right?
Some days, yes.
Yeah. So these services that we're talking about would need to be on the weekend.
Yes.
And I'm not attacking you. I get it, okay? How would you feel about your 7 kids going back and being with their mother?
I don't honestly know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Have you read the reports about how the progress your wife is making with counseling?
No.
Would you accept my word for it that it's rather positive?
Yes.
Is it possible that if you were aware of what was going on in her life and her efforts to turn things around, is it possible that you could be convinced that it would be in the kids' best interest that they go back with their mother?
We're calling for speculation, pure speculation without spreading anything. So
I'll withdraw the question. Fair enough. I have no further questions.
Nice.
At Ashley's rheumatology appointment, did they take her off of infusions or leave her on?
They took her off the infusions at the appointment.
So she had missed one that she was supposed to have, but now going forward for this next period until she goes to the doctor, there will be no infusions?
Correct.
Thank you, that's all.
Was that the doctor's decision?
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay. All right, redirect, Ms. Thomas?
None, Your Honor.
Any recross?
Yes, Your Honor, just for time saving, I was going to ask my client this on direct. Sir, you mentioned that some of your children are with your siblings and they go camping in the summer, correct?
Correct.
Where is this that they go camping?
All over. It's like they don't go to just one campground. They have a camper, and it's not at a permanent site. They can go wherever they want. Like they go down to couple times. They go down to Fort Wayne. Like I don't exactly know where they go.
So the barrier, what is the barrier that we're talking about with your visits? Is that they can't bring the children back up here? You can't meet them halfway, or can you explain to court what the barrier is?
Like when they're in Fort Wayne, it's what, 2 hour little, it's like, I think it's 2.5 hours. So it's like meeting in the middle, even that's still an hour and 15-minute drive for us to meet for what, and that's just one way. So if I were to bring them all home, then I have to bring them. Like it's, and then finding somewhere in the middle to meet and figure out what's there to do.
So have you had a chat with them to confirm that that's what their plans are for the summer?
Yes.
And they confirm that that's what they're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Say yes?
Yes.
Okay. How often do they do this?
That I don't know.
Are they in court here today?
Yes, they are.
Maybe I'll call them, see what their thoughts are, or I'll talk to the worker. Nothing further.
I would encourage you to consider too that they are going to be doing a family team meeting on this.
I do realize that after I said that, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Foote?
No, Your Honor.
None.
Thank you for your testimony. May I return to your seat? Your next witness, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Judge. I'll on the speech at this time.
I would offer a stipulation to approve the court report as a court exhibit without testimony.
My client's agreeable with that, Your Honor, even though he hasn't read it, he's agreeable with that.
That includes the exhibits, I'm assuming?
Yes, and the witness could still be sworn for questions about it, but as far as laying a foundation for what's already in it, I think that we all have access to it and it would be part of the court record from the writing.
I would agree, Your Honor, that we've had access to the ability to review that, so I think my client can make that informed decision.
Mr. Brooks?
As amended by the testimony of Mrs. Foote, I have no objection.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor, and also thank you, Ms. Heiss. I would appreciate that. And I will just note that the amendment Mr. Brooks is referring to, page 2 is incorporated page 2 of Miss Brene Moore's report regarding Miss Pamela Foote is incorporated into the court report on the court report's page 8. It is under that page 8, paragraph B. That is what was read into the record by Mr. Brooks.
Any other comments about that or issues you want to raise?
No.
Very good. All right, the court report and the exhibits are received. Ms. Beach, come on up for any questions.
Good morning, Ms. Beach. As it relates to this court report and the attachments, other than the amendment we just discussed on the record, are there any other updates or modifications that you're aware of that need to be made to it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to, information you'd like to provide to the court regarding the children, how their needs are met, anything of that sort?
I don't believe so.
Okay, well, with that, Judge, I have no further questions of Ms. Beach.
Okay, that was pretty garbled, Ms. Thomas. Can you repeat that last phrase just a little slower?
Sorry, Judge. With that, I have no further questions of Ms. Beach.
Thank you. Cross-examination, Mr. McFarland.
I do. Are you agreeable to a family team meeting regarding discussing the issue of my client having all the kids together in some type of manner and then expanding the time? Are you agreeable to at least having that family team meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that something you think could be accomplished in having?
The family team meeting or an agreed upon parenting time schedule?
Well, agreed upon parenting time schedule with all the kids together. Is that realistic?
I think that is our goal as well, because we definitely want to see if Mr. Foote can manage the needs of all 7 children at once. But there are a lot of schedules that we're working with, so a family team meeting would be really helpful to see if we can come up with some sort of set schedule where he can have all 7 at once.
What kind of timing do we usually look at for family team meetings? A couple weeks?
Yes, one of the direct workers is off this week, so it would be at least next week at the earliest before we could get something scheduled, but we would aim for something to be scheduled in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
My client going into this family team meeting, just so we know, when children are placed with family and they go out of state camping, how is that usually resolved? I mean, is there some parties meet in the middle, or is it the obligation of the caretaker of these children to actually have them available for visits? What is the policy is what I'm asking.
I think, so there's the parenting time policy, which for those children is once per week is the minimum requirement. But we would just be looking at trying to reach a resolution where the children can still go have the camping trip with their caregivers, and then also agree upon a day and time every week where they can also visit with dad.
Is the policy that the custodians are to provide the children, make them available for parenting time? I believe that's in the policy.
Yes.
So they may have to bring the kids up if they're out of, if they're gone for a week or something, right?
Yeah, and I have no idea what their camping schedule is like over the summer, so I think it would just depend on what the schedule looks like and how often they're going, but our goal would be to reach a resolution that works for everyone.
Well, let me just ask you on that. Would you be willing to reach out to them to kind of get some information so we have an idea of where we stand in this family team?
Yes.
Okay, nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Brooks?
That schedule sounds like it's a rather active one, and I'm not criticizing it in any way. I'm referring to the camping. But would you agree with me that if it interferes with my client's parenting time, that parenting time should be made up?
Yes, and we always make an effort to do that if visits are missed because kids are on a vacation.
All right. Now, my overall impression reading Mrs. Foote's report is that she is making progress. Would you disagree with that?
No, I would not.
Nothing further.
Ms. Weiss?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. Ms. Thomas, I'm sorry I didn't ask if you had any redirect, do you?
I did not. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else you'd like us to hear from?
No, Judge.
Mr. McFarland?
No, my client is satisfied with this prior testimony.
Mr. Brooks?
No, we're fine.
Ms. Heiss?
No witnesses today, thank you.
All right. Comments?
Thank you, Judge. We're just asking for the court to continue its jurisdiction, set this for a 90-day review. This review period, both parents have made progress, both in the areas of need towards reunification. Family team meetings were held to discuss permanency options. And as Ms. Heiss indicated, it might be a little too early to execute any of that, but there are discussions that are at least being had. And with that, we just ask for that 90-day review date. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland?
Sir, my opinions mirror that of the attorney for the agency. Thank you.
Mr. Brooks?
Those of us who are here routinely have a slightly nuanced perspective of these proceedings. And one of mine is that Renee Moore is one tough cookie. I get that listening to my own clients and their experiences. So when I sit here and see that Renee Moore and my client, who I will agree can be a tough cookie, get along fine, I'm impressed with that, because I know Mrs. Moore does not put up with any nonsense. And if Renee Moore says this woman is getting along fairly well, and if my client has no complaints about her style, I think progress must be really being made.
Ms. Heiss?
No comments, thank you.
Very well. The court finds all interested parties are given notice for purposes of today's review hearing and permanency planning hearing. Do you think reunification remains an appropriate goal in this case? Both parents are working hard to accomplish their goals and to maintain their bond with their children. And the family's working hard too. Thank you for everyone who came today to support both the parents and the children in this case. It's truly a village in this case that's helping with these kids. I appreciated the updates from the teachers and from our caregivers directly. It was very detailed and very personal, and I appreciate that. So I want to say I just appreciate everyone taking the time to do that for me and for everyone who's involved in the case to review that for today. So we have reset the divorce pretrial, and there will be a mediation in that case on custody and visitation that I have directed to include the parties and attorneys from this case, because that's clearly an overlap. As it relates to property and all of the rest of the things that the Foots have to work out, that's on them. But as it relates to custody and visitation, I have asked the attorney involved to reach out to all of you with that invitation, and I will be providing the initial mediation platform for that purpose, because
Who is the attorney, Your Honor?
it's Mr. Shadler, Phil Shadler,
You mean the mediator or the divorce attorney?
mediation.
Okay. Who's the divorce attorney?
You'll have to ask Mr. Foote. I don't remember his name
We'll
offhand.
get you that.
All right.
All right, so that will be a bit of an overlap, but it clearly concerns permanency planning, because if the parties are able to resolve what's going to be happening with custody and visitation, the less the court and Ms. Beach has to be involved, the better, frankly. That's what we want to do, is get this family to a place where they can function on their own without court involvement and all of that, the rigors that come with that. So congratulations on your progress. We're going to keep the goal at reunification. Looking forward to more developments on that front moving forward. Family team meeting conducted by Ms. Beach on visitation as well for the summer, I think will be imperative and useful. Thank you. I'm sure that won't be easy to wrangle. So as services progress, the children will remain in their placement. We'll ask Ms. Foote to continue steadily towards her goal of finding her own place, and Mr. Foote to continue maintaining the household with the oldest 3 children. The second 2 will remain in their relative placement, and the last 2 in their licensed caregiver placement. I did notice also that the oldest child is visiting more with mom, which is good. The second child is still not in a place where she's comfortable with that. And I can appreciate Ms. Moore's support for additional visits with Ms. Foote. I would note, I know she sees the some of the older children as well, but she's not seeing the youngest children, and I'm not sure she has the same information that we do today about some of the struggles that the youngest two are still having. So I'm sure that will be part of the conversation during the family team meeting on visitation. But I think it's important to note that I support that the children, the youngest two, may not be ready for an increase in parenting time, given some of the challenges that they're still facing that I read about. Some behavioral issues associated with visits, and still some progress needs to be made around some of that. So we don't want to reset anybody, but in the name of progress, we'll ask the family team meeting to move forward on visits as planned. I will offer to you Tuesday, August 13th for our next review. Mr. and Ms. Foote, I did schedule the pre-trial for 9:30, but I think what you'll find in your notice is I'll schedule that for 9. We'll schedule a review for 9:30 so that we can have an hour and a half for your review in the event that we need that.
So 9 or 9:30?
9:30. So the review will be Tuesday, August 13th at 9:30. And I will also be a permanency planning hearing as well. Children are certainly in their safest and least restrictive settings for many of the reasons that were shared today by both sides, and challenges that need to continue to be overcome to create a stable, safe environment for all of them to be in at the same time. Until our next review, that's where they will remain for all of those reasons. Unless there's any questions, that's all for today, and we'll see you August 13th at 9:30.